Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. It's your host, Chris and Deepom here, and we're back to review, I believe this is episode 11 of season 5 of The Flash, Seeing Red. During a battle with Cicada, Nora is severely injured. Due to Cicada dampening powers, Nora's speed healing isn't working. Barry and Iris are scared for the daughter's future, and an enraged Flash confronts Cicada in a brutal battle. So, real quick going into this, I wanted to go back to, I want to start this review about something we talked about last week, which was we were kind of thrown off last week because they had literally sidelined Barry coming back from a break. And Daniel Panabaker came out and I think it was either on Instagram or Twitter and explained what happened. And the thing was basically Grant Gustin, the reason why he was sidelined in the episode was Grant Gustin was going back and forth between, had left the set to go deal with the episodes they were shooting for the Elseworlds crossover.
That makes sense.
So, and it makes sense. So, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But here's the thing. And it's one of the things that made me nervous because it goes back to one of the things we talked about last season. I don't feel like the CW in these shows are doing a good enough planning job when it comes to when their episodes air. Because it makes perfect sense that that's why Barry wasn't there. But then, like, the episode still shouldn't have been the first episode you're coming out of a break from.
No,
like,
you know what? I see what you're saying. I understand. But as far as production schedules and how you've got to shoot things and how things have to air, I get it.
Yeah, no.
I'm fine with it. That's like even taking a step back and like we probably could have figured that out on our own. But I think that the fact that they addressed it, the fact that they very much addressed it in this episode, I'm actually more okay with it than I was last week.
No. I think that it's on its own is fine. It just makes me nervous going forward because to me it seems like you guys we've had this issue before. We've had this issue before, and at some point you got to do a better job of planning because coming out of breaks, we just know that you lose some of the momentum because this episode feels like a better episode to come out of break.
And that's I think the fact that this episode was so enthralling helps me raise last episode's grade because if it's like a slump like last year, I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes they had to come out of.
True.
But for a 1 episode explicable like kind of reset, I get it.
Right.
Especially if you're using that episode to center Nora and then take her off the table this episode. They made the conceit really work for them, I think, this year.
Yeah. And like I said, hey, maybe this is gonna be the lesson they learn and they do a better job of it. I think first of all, addressing it is already a better thing than they did last season, where they just didn't address it at all.
I think also addressing and then, like I said, using it because the sidelining of Nora has more impact this week because she was the focal point last week. You know what I'm saying?
True, absolutely.
Her getting her back broken lands more in the first 5 minutes than it would have coming out of a break. True.
You definitely see that.
If that was their goal to make me more attached to Nora and her 1 episode focus, they did a good. It paid off in a way that I'm like, you know what? I don't think it was a misfire anymore. I think last episode was perfectly placed. Again, in the framework of the season because of what this episode did. If they'd have gone to this episode and not really been like, yep, that was just an episode with Nora, let's move on, then I would ask more questions. But making it have impact by removing her in such a way that has such a ripple effect on every other character, it allowed her injury to matter, as opposed to just being a 1 episode, oh, she got hurt.
Yeah, true. So, like I said, I'm still keeping an eye on it. It's one of these things that I'm just like, because we know,
you're just wary.
Because we know, we know just because of production schedule and because of what CW does at this point. Like, I do not want to hold the fact that I do know there are going to be some weird breaks that come up on the Flash. At this point, they've done it like 3-4 seasons in a row where this just goes to be like, wait, we're taking another break? We just came back. Like, I already know that's going to happen. So I'm at this point, I don't want to use that just as an excuse to get mad at them.
I agree too. I don't want to use an excuse, but I think that the 2 episodes together show that they are cognizant of it too.
Right.
This year it felt more like a plan after having watched this episode.
That's a valid point. All right, so let's get into this episode then and talk about it. And the first thing I kind of want to talk about is Dr. Ambrose is the Black Doctor. She's kind of evil.
Yo, no. Like, I'm like, wait a second, Emperor, is this your Vader? What the fuck?
Right,
Like,
right.
you know, if they'd have found you by now, they would have found you, motherfucker. Stop being so scary. Like, all right, relax, a little spicy.
Right.
And then she kept getting spicier and spicier. I was like, wait a second.
Right, she told me to get back. She told me to get back to work. Like, it's one thing. It's one
Not
thing.
like you're gonna get back into your sickness, Cicada. No, you had a list, motherfucker.
Yeah, because at first you're like, when we first met her before, it's like, okay, she cares about Grace. Okay, well, she's worried about him getting hurt. She's at one point, I feel like you can't do this. And now it's like, hey, listen, motherfucker. You had a few weeks off. Let's pick up the pace. Let's get back to work. Come on, yo. Yeah, you like the government shutdown does not affect you. Like, I need you to go ahead and take out some metas and let's go down here. And it's not just that, but it's like she's almost like seeking out people that are sympathetic to his cause. Be perfectly honest, I think the callback to the cop, Officer Jones, that was his name, was actually pretty, because we've seen him before. I mean,
it was really smartly done.
You know what? And it's something that I don't feel like we've done enough of with this show, where you take a small secondary character that you wouldn't think of. I was like, wait a minute, why do I feel like I've seen this cop before? Why do I feel like I've seen this cop before? And then you're like, oh, wait, we did see that cop before. Oh, that makes sense. Like, that's not bad. Like, I don't think the show's really done that too much before. And sometimes it gets us to trying to draw connections that end up not being there and don't pay off, and we're like, oh wait, come on, you know, we thought that there was a connection here, you know, and there is, like, apparently, and it wasn't just from this season with the Elseworlds, or he was also in his first episode was Inner Flash Time.
Right. They've done a very good job of paying attention and giving themselves kind of, it shows that they're planning things, and I think that's something that you and I really appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, it's the small details. When you're doing something like this, the small details, it also makes the world feel lived in, because now you have this villain who is now appealing to quote unquote everyday people. This is a character that you've seen in the background. You might not have paid attention, but again, Enter Flash Time was last season. This is a character that you never knew his name, until this season. And I don't even know if they ever you officially knew his name, but like you click on the actor's name and you see his character has been in these episodes before, and now you're like, oh wow, okay, you guys are now making this world lived in, making this a series, a thing that can go forward. Now we have to keep it in mind, because I'm not gonna lie, for a hot second there, I thought maybe it was Captain Singh. I was like, no, it can't be. But I was just like, yeah, wouldn't that be something? If it's Captain, because I mean they were pretty heavy handed that it was Jones. But I was like, what if they fake us out and it's like Captain Singh really doing it, and we find out that somehow Singh has been hurt by metas before. It could be Captain Singh. Who knows? So I was like, you kind of made me think that, oh, they wouldn't just pull this random cop out. Oh, wait, no. Wait, he's not a random cop. He's somebody we've seen before. Oh, that's real, So,
right.
Let's see. Let's do the Nora thing, because we talked about, we were, this is, we were kind of talking about her before, about Nora being hurt. It's like, listen, you're going to be the daughter of the Flash. You might have to get your ass whooped like he did with Zoom.
Man, like that, and the thing with Zoom was sustained beating. Like, this was one of those, like, oh no, it was like watching someone go down the open court, like on open layup. It's like, oh no, his knee. Like, she got hit real fast.
I'm not gonna lie.
And good.
So I'm not gonna lie. When it happened and they told her the injuries, I immediately thought of Mike Tyson. You broke my back. Like, I'm sorry. That still goes down as one of my favorite interviews of all time. Spinal. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just
every week is one or two moments every week.
Come on.
I question everything. Before we get too deep into it, I'll remind everyone, our mailbag is next week.
Oh yes, send your emails.
Send your emails, because those are always the leaks where the most. I'm like, why do I do this? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna say some real nice things about DC app, because they brought me Young Justice, and it's been absolute fire.
Hey, so
But I digress.
For all the weeks and episodes where we've been shitting on DC, this is some good news for DC that Deepom is actually going to have some nice things to say about their app. So
Young Justice is so goddamn fire. Oh my goodness. Oh. Well, so is this show. And you're right. You're not right about the Tyson thing, you trash person. But you're
Spinal.
Right. Oh, you're right that this was good. I think the pacings episode is something that, like, going back and watching it twice really captures your eye, because there's no sitting around and waiting. There's no. It was a very fast episode of The Flash, no pun intended, but they had a lot of shit to cover, and I feel like they did a good job of both servicing everything they had to do, while also making sure that everything that happened had impact. We got old Snake Guy had a hero turn. You got to see Ralph kind of expanding his power set and showing his usefulness. Yo, Ralph's a good ass detective.
Yo, this is something that, again, I think that they learned from last season. If you're gonna have Ralph here, we talked about this. We to the point that they haven't had Ralph a couple episodes, and we kind of missed him. And you're like, Ralph is actually good at this. Ralph, like you said, Ralph is a good detective. They've made Ralph into a good character, and they've made him into a useful character. And I think that's the big thing. Like, he's a meta. Yeah, he's useful as a meta, but he's actually more useful as a detective. Same thing with Sherloque, and we'll get into Sherloque later on. But, like, I think by doing that, you've made that when you make these characters useful, the same thing. And I definitely want to spend some time talking about Caitlin and Killer Frost. By making these characters useful outside of just their powers and going back to what they were before they were metas, is useful. It means that, one, it saves you some money on having the UCG. Not saying, again, they show us Ralph using some powers and really going full comic book with it a little bit here, but still, it's like, even if they didn't do that, Ralph is, you still have room for Ralph. And when you have a meta that can negate your meta's powers, you need to make sure that people are useful when they don't have their powers.
Right.
So yeah, no, I love what they did with there. I love the idea of this being the episode that you really see Barry have that fatherhood moment, right? Where before it was just, we've been getting fatherhood Barry talking to Nora, giving her guidance and with this, but this is the episode where his daughter's hurt. No, I'm sorry, not just hurt, critically injured.
His daughter's paralyzed. Like that really, really brought it home for me was seeing his reaction. And shout out to Grant Gustin, because this is a level of anger he hasn't had to tap into as an actor on this series often. And I thought that it's easy to do it in the loud moments, but it's even more compelling in the quiet when you see the simmering just below the surface anger. Yeah.
No, I mean, again, not gonna lie, when Barry starts whooping Cicada's ass at the end, and Iris and Nora trying to get him to stop, I'm just like, you know what? Let him finish. Like, you can't, but you get that feeling of, you know what? I mean, yeah, sure. Barry, Barry isn't necessarily a Spider-Man or a Batman who doesn't kill. Like, he's killed before. Like, so.
Well, the thing about Barry Allen is he's always, at least in the comics, and I think they've kind of gotten away from this in the more modern era, obviously post the death of Reverse Flash. But while he calls it, when he talks about what happened with Barry and Zoom, he says Barry was a cop. Mm-hmm. If lethal force was the only option, he was going to take it.
Right.
And they haven't depicted that much in the series. They've gone more traditional hero route, but I like the idea that he's like, if you got to go, we got to go. I don't know if you've seen Punisher season 2 yet.
No.
But in my old age, my empathy is growing. And even watching like Daredevil or like Iron Fist, I'm like, hey, man, some of these guys like kiss their kids, kiss their wives tonight. Like said, hey, honey, I'm just going to go run secure like I always do. And they ran into this asshole superpowers who whip their asses. Like, I feel kind of bad for them sometimes. With Frank, every time he kills someone, I'm like, get him, Frank. They should have tried your ass. And that's how I felt with Cicada and Barry. I was like, get him. He fucked up your daughter. Like, this is it. Whip his ass, Barry.
And there's an underlying thing here that we've seen with Barry that, you know, Barry's always struggled every season with, well, how far do I go with taking down the villain? You know, how far, you know, do I have to kill? You know, we even see in the Flash 100 where we see what Barry had to sacrifice to stop Savitar. You know, you see what Barry had to do. You know, and again, it's not he'll sacrifice himself, but at the same time, like if the guy's got to go, he'll go. We've just never seen Barry really almost settle down to this issue. You know, when Cecile was kind of getting those feelings, still kind of reading his mind, saying like, wait, no, you are actually really angry. Like you really feel like there's only one way to stop him, that we can only like kill him. And one, I want to, again, this is not me saying that, you know, what they did was wrong here. Like, I think they played it perfectly this episode with the balance between the two. But as myself sitting on the couch at home going like, yeah, his daughter's laid up paralyzed in the hospital. Cicada isn't just some like fun little villain here that's doing something here and there.
It's not the top who's being annoying or Mary Master who trapped you in a maze. It's this guy's broken your daughter's back. His existence, where his purpose is to destroy Metis, directly threatens you and most of your family at this point.
Yeah, he is a meta serial killer.
Right.
He thought he killed Vibe. He's already tried to kill a member of your team. You know, he's tried to kill you a couple of times. He kind of only stopped because he knows that you and Nora are father and daughter, and so he has that little thing. That's the only thing that saved you so far. You know, he has tried to kill your team multiple times. He has almost killed your daughter. You know, the metas he's coming down this episode were basically, yeah, some of them were still doing crimes. But the other thing too was some of them weren't. Some of them, these were metas that had served their time. They had gone to prison, served their time, and now had been released. He was now hunting them down. So it's like it's gone from, okay, cool. When Cicada is when you first meet him, he kills, what was the guy? I can't remember what the character's name was in the first episode.
Bruno.
Like,
his name after Toilet Wine. I remember that.
What are you talking about this week?
Oh,
no, I'm talking about.
I mean this episode.
Oh no, I mean the first episode. The first time we saw Cicada, I can't remember. It's not Light Out. I can't remember what the character was. But like he killed a meta who literally was a villain in that episode. Like he was a current villain. Cool. He's gone out and he's killing other metas. Like there's that one episode where the meta that had the Terminator arms, where she had been attacking other people. Like he is gone. He is now expanded from, you know, and outside of him attacking Vibe, everyone else he had attacked, it had pretty much been current meta villains. So you're kind of like, okay, he's wrong, but is he like on a Punisher type deal where he's really kind of just going after the bad guys, and maybe he doesn't understand that Barry and his team is. And then you get this episode, you're like, oh no, he knows that these people aren't criminals, and he's still doing it anyway. Okay, no, fuck him. And so when Barry's kind of going like, yeah, maybe we gotta kill him, maybe I can't, and then, you know, Killer Frost stops his dagger, and Barry gets his powers back, and Barry starts whooping his ass to the point like Barry does the flat top thing where he slows him down, just like looking at him and just like, I'm whooping your ass right now. I'm like,
yo, yeah. When Barry hit that speed, I was like, uh-oh. It's like, you done fucked up now, because now it's always like, Barry, it's like, you don't know what I could do.
Right.
Like, I play really nice with these powers.
Well, it's the superior Spider-Man thing. Is like, wait, was he pulling punches when he fought me? Because wait, you can do this? You know, it's one of those things. Because even as a kid, it kind of looked at it, was like, wait, he actually really is kind of fast. Holy shit!
The Flash.
Right.
Oh,
but so no, you're right. So and I don't know. I don't like their next thing is now we can appeal to him by going to Grace. I'm like, what if that doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? It goes back to the whole thing of, you know, the other thing we're dealing with Thawne, which is can people change? Like when is the body count of Cicada enough that the only way to do it is to kill him? The only way to stop him is like, at this point, you guys have been trying to capture him. At this point, you guys, when he doesn't have that dagger on him, if you don't snap his neck as soon as you get him, right? It's like, you know, I like they're presenting that as, you know, that might be the only way, and I feel like this season they again, this is not the only time they've done this with the big bad. Like it always kind of gets to this like, you know, we did it with Savitar, like we did it with Zoom, like maybe when I get him, we gotta kill him and stuff like that. But they've always kind of found ways out of it for Barry, because remember, it wasn't Barry that killed Savitar, it was Iris. You know, he didn't kill Zoom. Zoom kind of, you know, he raised Zoom, and Zoom, you know, that was on Zoom. Like here, we might get to a point where the only way for him forward is to do this one thing, and there's no other way out. And I think they're handling it pretty well, because Cicada is a real threat. You know.
Yeah, he's a problem.
Yeah. I really like what I really like what they've been doing with Caitlyn and Killer Frost. This is something, it kind of reminds me of what they've done with Laurel on Arrow, and giving, you know, an actress and a character that were having some problems a new lease on life, and having Danielle having to play basically two versions of herself through here works out really well. And then when we take into, you know, Cisco, Hank McCoy's, Ramon's cure that he's trying to form, it makes sense that why Killer Frost would be kind of upset with this. And you know, it's a real thing. It's like at any point, if Caitlyn decides to take the cure, she's not just getting rid of meta powers. Caitlyn's kind of different in that, you know, any other meta that takes that cure is just getting rid of their powers.
She's effectively killing some part of herself, or an entirely sentient being.
Yeah, she's literally killing a whole other personality, and like you said, a whole other sentient being. So it makes sense that, so on that level alone, it made sense why Killer Frost was upset. But then they added the other layer onto it where she's like, but I want to exist basically to protect Caitlyn. You know, and then Caitlyn's like, but I'll protect you as well. Like, there's this synergy between the two of them where they're each trying to protect each other. And
but they also, I think it's interesting, they also lack the communicative skills to get to that place and just say it.
Right. Which honestly, it's a relationship, not a romantic relationship, but it is a relationship.
It's any relationship. Yo, it's your friends, it's your family, it's finding the way to be vulnerable enough to realize that you both are trying to protect the other one.
Exactly. And I think the way that they presented it worked out really, really well. And it makes the character really, really interesting, you know? It really, really does. And yeah, I've really liked the way that they've done that and how they handled it. And then when you add into it, we were going off about the cure last week. It was a really, really bad idea. Still a bad idea. Don't get me wrong. Still a bad idea. Still a bad idea. But I like the way that they add that into as a layer in here to kind of boost their relationship and boost what's going on with them. So no, I really enjoyed what they've done with that there. And let's talk about Sherloque here. I know Iris is trying to protect her daughter,
right?
But she's wrong.
Look, man. After watching your baby get her back broke, be wrong. And before we get on the Sherloque, I want to give a hat tip to Iris, man. She acted like they did a really good job. The same way Karen Gus did. Candace Pat did an amazing job of selling us on the impact of watching their daughter be injured. Mm-hmm. They did. There's a shot I think near the beginning of the episode where they linger on her face while Nora's laid up, and I was like, okay. We're doing this little nice subtle. We're even on a fast-paced episode. They took the time to let these emotional beats hit. Be it Caitlyn and Killer Frost, be it Ralph like and old Snake Eye, or the West Allens. It was a really deft touch, I thought, in this episode, and really well done. But let's go back to Sherloque, because you're right. Maybe Iris is wrong, but in the moment, I'm not going to tell you she was wrong. I will say Sherloque's on to something.
Oh, here's the thing. You know the thing I love about it is Sherloque was kind of, he didn't even push it. Like this is
Why
what
push it? What's the point?
This is what to me makes Sherlock so so dangerous and so good as a detective. He was kind of just on some, you know what? You're right. But you didn't tell me not to investigate anymore. He just said.
You told me to take notes.
She told me.
You told me to stop being tooling on technology. You know what? Maybe you're right. You might be right about that technology shit, but I'm gonna keep asking questions.
I also love the fact that Irish could just figure it out. Like that Nora couldn't. Nobody else could figure out what Sherlock's doing. But Sherlock is kind of like basically investigating Nora, and Irish is like, wait a minute, no, this is. The question he's asking, he's using the monocle. No, he's investigating. Why is he investigating my daughter? Oh hell no, we're not doing this right now. Like it said, no. You don't speak to Sherlock until you have your lawyer present. Like it was that kind of deal.
But I didn't like that. Like it wasn't. She didn't go on some like there's no reason not to trust her. It wasn't like some high horse. It was just like straight up maternal. Like leave my daughter alone. She's hurt.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't like you have no reason to ask these questions. It's not like how dare you. It was like, hey man. Not right now, asshole.
Well, and she also went back to the thing that you told me to go down a different path. I'm telling you, go down a different path. This is the path. And Sherlock was like, well, I kind of just follow the paths as they come along. Maybe it's nothing. And I'm just like what I love about Sherlock and the way he again, it's the way that they've done both him and Ralph when it comes to being detectives and investigating. Ralph is more the hit the ground running, tell you what he's thinking, Ralph is a PI.
Yeah.
So Ralph investigates like a PI.
He reads the room. He reads people's motions. He reads body language. He does a very good job of observing.
Right.
But Sherlock sees the thing beneath. The thing that what lies beneath, and I think that's an important distinction they've made very clear.
Yeah, and he never shows his hand. Right. He never shows everything he knows. Like he could have come out and just been like, well, it's this, and this, and none of this stuff is making sense, and this is why I'm investigating. No, because at one point he's like, he knows that there's something there. He wants to make sure he has. You know what he reminds me? He's Robert Mueller. It's like he's gonna wait till he has all the information he has. Let you kind of like let people
let you twist on what he might have.
Let you tell on yourself and give way too much information more than you should. And then when the time is right, he'll kind of reveal it all there. Like, because again, when we first started, we were like, oh man, Sherlock's another like scammer. Well, he's not a really good detective. Then you start going like, well, actually,
he can still be a scammer and have skills.
Right. It's like
he came in here on some. I'll tell you exactly who it is. It's Clive Orkin. Give me the
right. It's like right. Oh wait. I gotta actually earn my money this time.
He came to scam. Let's be very clear. He came with full intent to get his scam on.
Right. It's like, oh, I got to scam. Now he's over here doing work during non-billable hours on a whole separate project.
Like, y'all got me in now. Now I'm curious.
Right. So wait. I mean, I'll do the other stuff for free now. This other mystery though is interesting, and then we get to that whole thing of time is malleable, and. It now leads me to believe, is this Thawne working to try to undo Eddie killing himself? So that because Eddie doesn't kill himself, then...
Ooh, good eye.
Because that's what it all comes down to, right? Like, if that Thawne is sitting in prison, then we know Thawne does not die in prison. Because Thawne disappears. So this Thawne must be trying to... We know Thawne knows that something is going on, and so why does Thawne care that time is malleable? What is he trying to change? And the one thing I can think of is, well, he's trying to prevent his own death. We've seen several times, not just through this show, but literally in Legend of Tomorrow, Thawne was literally outrunning death. So What is he doing? And we know time is malleable because we see the Legends of Tomorrow all the time. So we know there are big, Legend of Tomorrow has been such a great show to watch to think about when it comes to time, because we know there are big issues and there's things like Wally. Wally came back in one episode and kind of explained, there are big things that you can't change, and there's some things you can't, smaller things that you can't change. We've seen Nora here in this time frame. We know that there are certain things going on here. So,
well, that was the entire premise of the Saboteur season, was that we got to change this time. We got to change what happened with Iris, and they did it.
Yeah, and let's be honest here. We know that when it comes to time travel and changing time and things like that, like Barry Allen's still a rookie on that. He doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
Thawne, though, Thawne is a surgeon. I mean,
we saw him in the Flashpoint episode. He was like, he explained to Barry what he's doing wrong. He's like, he should have done that.
Right.
Changed too much, Barry.
Right. Like, Thawne is a surgeon when it comes to time travel. He knows how to change things. Again, remember, he changed an entire timeline and wasn't being chased down by time rapes. Like, he's a master manipulator. So we know when it comes to time, Thawne is that dude. Like, he knows what he's doing. And it's very clear that, Sherloque is breaking this down and basically realizes that there's two handwritings in this journal. So whose other handwriting is this, and what's going on?
Whose journal was it first?
And whose journal was it first? And what's going on? The whole idea of the whole idea of the time language itself is the idea that time is malleable.
I think that they've kind of told us what's going on with the journal, is that's how she and Thawne are communicating when she's not going back. Because remember, she started to write things down in the journal, says, I'll just go talk to myself, and then went back to the future.
Well, no, I'm saying, and you're right. What I'm saying is the whole thing with the journal is that the time language is written so that it can withstand changes in the timeline. That's the whole purpose of the time language.
Right. But it came from the Speed Force, which is even more interesting.
Exactly. So, we've heard time is malleable before. We've seen this. We've seen these kind of changes in the timeline and how these things work. We know this. And so I think that whatever we're seeing with Thawne, I'll even take a swipe in saying that we might not get that it'll be in the background, but maybe this doesn't become a thing that we get the full answer to this season. Maybe we move into next season. I don't know.
Which would make me almost happier. I mean, just because, like we talked about, you and I love a good long-term plan, and they've clearly got one here.
I feel that just like they were using Nora in last season, here and there, sprinkling here and there, if you're going to use Thawne and what Thawne's real plan is in the background of this season to set up for the next season, I think that's perfect. And I think they're doing a better job because you've got me interested. Like,
well, hell, if they do it that way, you realize it's a 3-season long Thawne plan. Yeah. Because she showed up last season, and she's not here because she thought it was a good idea. She's here because Thawne sent her.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm there for that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, it's almost is a little bit even better than last season with Nora showing up, because those episodes were there. We kind of knew what was going on. We were like, okay, that's her daughter. Why is she here? Here we're like, okay, there is a larger, more sinister thing going on here that makes her a pawn. And so I don't know. Like I said, I'm really interested in seeing what they do with that and how they handle that going forward, because I find that completely intriguing. And by bringing Cicada back in this episode and still having Sherloque do with the journal thing, it's like, okay, you still reminding me that Cicada is a threat. Like, we had that problem. So. We had that problem last episode. We were like, well, I mean, have you now taken Cicada off the table and made it so that I feel better about how they're doing that in this season. I still don't know if you carry, because again, these seasons are long. There's only episode 11. I
think they've done a good job of keeping the Cicada momentum. They've bit him in and out. They've been able to put him on the shelf and not feel like. I think you and I felt that way because it was a little bit of a break between 100 and then the Elseworlds, and then last episode was like, oh, well, Cicada, you kind of could have ended this by now, but clearly they've got more plans. I think it's interesting because now you've created a situation where in Central City, his only target's left are the Flash. Mm-hmm. His only target left is the Flash family. They've gotten all the metas out of the city.
Yeah. Which, I'm not going to lie,
put him in places where he can't hunt them. Like, they've created bait, and now he's going to be singularly focused on them, which may not have been a good idea.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Another thing, too, to go back there, because I got this feeling, we've already had mention of the Young Rogues. Mm-hmm. They brought together all these metas villains to get them out of the city, and they even name dropped Amunet. This is a perfect time and a perfect reason. Even if you don't do it this season, you bring them back together next season to bring in some rogues, maybe led by Amunet, basically going like, we had to stick together. We were being hunted because again, we haven't had a reason to form for the rogues to actually form, right? We could. I think we've almost passed the point of saying, well, they formed because of the Flash. That could still be a valid reason.
But now be a union kind of protection racket type thing. I like where your head's at.
Yeah, if you now sit there and go, well, we formed the rogues as protection against Cicada.
So this will never happen to us again. We will not be ridden out of town because out of fear.
Exactly.
An organization will be in place.
Right. Like now you've given us a reason to give the rogues, and I feel like the mention of the young rogues last episode, and then just seeing them again name drop Amunet. And then using her place as a base operation to bring all these rogues together. Seeing characters like Peekaboo, who, like some of the rogues kind of just wanted to, we're trying to turn on a new leaf. Peekaboo was just like, yeah, no, guys, I'm still a villain. Like, I still don't give a shit about anybody else but myself. So you can bring in somebody like a Peekaboo. You can bring in, you have the two characters from last episode. You then bring in Amunet. Here's my thing. You can form an all-female rogues team. Mm-hmm. We have one now.
That's it.
Bring Peekaboo in there. Should you can bring back what was it? Golden Glider, and then bring in Amunet. Hey, dude, we're in. We have an all-female rogues team that we can bring in, and that would be fucking awesome. So I'm here for that. I see the seeds. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself and talk myself into something that might not happen. But I'm just saying, if they decide to go down that road, I am here for it. I am 100% here for it. So, you got anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, I'm going through my notes right now. It looks like I hit everything I wanted to talk about. I just think that I'm really happy with the way the season came back. I think that, after a little trepidation last week, which I think was well founded, it proved that they had a plan, one. Mm-hmm. Two, that they're clearly building towards multiple places. And I think that's a lot of fun too, thinking like, oh, it's not just we're waiting for this one plan to come together. First of all, Homeboy was like a dog on a leash with this doctor. His plan's been thrown to the wind, and now he's going to be scarier because we can't predict what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. We know that there's this kind of this unseen by Barry and them hand guiding him right now, and we see that almost illustrated by this episode, seeing the passion and fervor with which Barry fought. You get why he fights. Yeah, they made it a very object lesson, and like if you didn't understand Cicada before, right now, the second he broke Nora's back, you understood. Mm-hmm. And by doing that for the viewer and allowing you to be kind of put in the antagonist's shoes, it gives everything he does more weight and makes him scarier. Because what do we say? I forget what character we're talking about, but characters motivated by love or terror or scared, characters motivated by hate.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they did a good job of showing why that's true using Barry this hour. And if anything, they brought me this. It's been interesting. So since they introduced Thawne, I was like, nah, fuck Cicada, give me Thawne. And now I'm more like, well, hold on. And the fact that I'm doubly intrigued by two plot lines that aren't really complementary. Like they don't really tie in together. But I'm here for both of them.
Well, and I think this is again, because we're still a few months away from Agent of Shield coming back. The thing, this is something we usually see all the time with Agent of Shield. Agent of Shield is known for its multiple, and I don't think the Flash has fully gotten into that mode of multiple threads going on at the same time that are just so equally like Agent of Shield is like you're never going to meet that. But what the Flash is doing this season is along that lines, and it works, and we see that it can work, and I'm really, really excited. Like it's the reason why we talk so much about Agent of Shield. It's the reason why we talk so much about the Gifted. We're gonna be honest. The Gifted has done the same thing. It's like when you can give us multiple things that don't seem like they're related and make them interesting and intriguing, and I'm invested in each one of them. I'm there for it. So now you got this again, like you said last week. We were like, oh well, you got Thawne here. No, obviously he's the draw point. Now you bring back Cicada, and you're like, well, okay, Cicada's came back in kind of strong on some. Don't forget about me, guys. I can still whoop everybody's ass. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Our bad.
You can whoop everybody's ass.
Yeah, you know what? You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. So
allow me to replace this respect on your name. And apologies for forgetting it.
Yeah. Your name is stupid, but you know what, guy? Oh, it is kind of terrifying. You know, you are kind of terrifying. This stupid fucking name, but god damn it if it ain't terrifying. So, all right, folks. There we have it. Like we said, next week will be a mailbag episode. So get your emails into us, mailbag@mtrnetwork.net. Also, we're reviewing Arrow because Arrow came back on Monday, so we're back to reviewing Arrow. What else? We have a character coming out, part 2 of our History of Comics character corner coming out. I'm really looking forward to that because we're now also getting into the eras of comics that we were born into. So it's gonna be really fun.
I get to make fun of the '90s, and if you think I'm not going to make fun, if you are a '90s fan, that's fine, and you're welcome to what you love. I'm a '90s kid. I grew up on it. I'm like, you want to talk about chrome foil covers and was it Spider, the Clone Saga Omega? I've got those. I get it. I understand the nostalgia. I'm going to be real honest about y'all's 90s comics.
I mean, they
killed the comic book industry. Literally, the comic glut happened because of the oversaturation of the 90s. And I'm going to talk about it because people are like, oh, the 90s are back. But what's happened is a lot of current creators with current sensibilities are taking those 90s characters and redeeming them. And that doesn't mean you let Rob Liefeld create a new character for you and you put him in a book with Cable and Wolverine. Marvel, written and drawn by Rob Liefeld. Fuck you very much. I am so sorry. This is a mailbag conversation. That's a whole other podcast.
Another thing you want to hear, you definitely want to check out because I know I had a blast doing it. Once a month, we'll be having the MTR monthly Mortgage Minute, hosted by D-Palm on the UD Pod feed. Actually, going to be on the entire feed, but definitely if you want to make sure you subscribe to Unanimous Decision to get that episode. I had a real great time talking to D-Palm on that first episode, so...
Yeah, we've got great feedback on that one already. It was a lot of fun to record. I apologize. I wasn't the most talkative. I was very sick when we recorded that. But yeah, it's something I do. It's my day job. I put people in houses and talking to enough people. There's enough mystery and enough questions out there that I felt like we could use our platform to make the whole thing a little less scary because no one likes making a landlord rich. So this is our first step in helping people build their own equity and find their way into their own homeownership dreams.
Yeah, that was definitely great. So, and we got a lot of other stuff coming on the network too. So just stay tuned. Rose podcast will be coming out as well. We're gonna have a Black Critic Roundtable. I think we're gonna start recording that next Saturday. I think that's the time we have it set. Again, there's a lot of stuff coming on the network, so just stay tuned. We got plenty of stuff coming for you. Also, premium members. We've been a little slow on getting the premium episodes out. There will be 6 episodes this month still. I just released 2 more episodes, our Suspiria review and the review of The Old Man and the Gun. We also have, we're reviewing the Fire Festival documentaries tomorrow, and then we're also getting in, what was it, Leave No Trace. I know we're really, really getting heavy on, like, spoiler reviews right now. I promise you that's going to change after the Oscars. We just got a lot, we're just trying, we get so many movies sent to us, we're trying to do something with them, so we're trying to get these reviews out all we can. Trust me, after the Oscars, even right before then, we're going to get more into... I'm going to try to schedule some comic book clubs for next month, and we're going to get back into having a little bit more diversity in the premium shows that are coming out. Is that we have so many of these movies, and we have so many movies that we can review that were sent to us that we can review.
Y'all see Chris stunting on you, right? Like everybody sees it, right? I just want to make sure it's not just me.
Look,
you just got so many movies.
I know you guys think it's stunting, but some of the movies we watch, trust me, it's not stunting. I watched 2.5 hours of Suspiria, and trust me, that's 2.5 hours. I'm never getting back. So it's like look, there are downsides. There are downsides.
It's true.
There are downsides. So anyway, folks, thank you guys very much for listening. Make sure you subscribe to Super Tuesday Recap. And until next time, we are out of here. Oh, wait, last thing, I forgot to mention Super Tuesday Recap. We're reviewing Star Trek Discovery and The Gifted this coming up this Friday. So subscribe to Super Tuesday Recap. You're going to get those 2 reviews as well. Like I said, we are fully back into 2019. So just stay tuned. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.